So this is teaching for women. So I'm talking about Zechariah chapter 3 and Revelations 5. It's clearly talking about our Messiah, the Lamb, with filthy garments, with the 7 eyes that represents the 7 spirits of Jehovah, the stone that they rejected, right? That Jehovah made the corner, the head of the corner, because he's a stumbling block for both houses, the house of Judah and the house of Israel. Have you not read 1 Corinthians chapter 10? So let's read Zechariah chapter 3, talk about our Messiah, and I'm going to show you that, do you know the testimony Jehovah gave of his son in Deuteronomy 18? Jehovah said, I'm going to send him in my name. Jehovah. Joshua, son of Nun, had the same name as our Messiah. Yahushua in Hebrew, which means Jehovah salvation, because he came in the Father's name. Joshua, high priest, is our Messiah. So let's read it. Zechariah chapter 3. And he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of Jehovah, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And Jehovah said unto Satan, Jehovah rebuke thee, O Satan, even Jehovah that has chosen Jerusalem. You know where Jehovah wrote his name? Rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? You know, the redeemed of the Lord, those who have overcome. Where Yeshua in Mark 13 gives you the parable that he goes on a far journey and gives his servants authority. And those that overcome, he'll give them the rod of iron to rule the nations. In Revelations 2, those that have the testimony of the Son in Revelations 19, those in Revelations 14 that have the Father's name written on their foreheads, who keep the commandments of God, the redeemed of the Lord. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with filthy garments. Filthy garments. Are you serious? You don't think this is your lamb? He has filthy garments. And stood before the angel. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thy iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with the change of remnant. And I said, Let them set a fair mitre upon his head. So they set a fair mitre upon his head, and clothed him with garments. And the angel of the Lord, Jehovah, stood by. And the angel of Jehovah protested unto Joshua, saying, Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and shalt also keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows. Is this not a brand plucked out of the fire? Thy fellows, right, that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. Isn't Yeshua the vine? Do you know, have you read everything about the branches? The original branches that were cut off the branches of the righteous and the branches of the wicked. Do you know you're supposed to be grafted in by taking hold of Yeshua, obeying the Son unto salvation, Hebrews 5, verse 9, because he becomes the author of eternal salvation for those who obey him. For behold, the stone. Isn't Yeshua the stone that they rejected, that Jehovah has made head of the corner? Is he not a stone of stumbling for both houses, the house of Judah and the house of Israel? Have you read 1 Corinthians 10? For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. You know, Revelations 5, the lamb that has the 7 eyes with the 7 spirits of Jehovah. We'll read that. Behold, I will engrave the graving thereof, saith Jehovah of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of the land in one day. In that day, saith Jehovah of hosts, shall you call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. Did you learn the parable of the fig tree in Mark 13? What Yeshua said to the porter, he said to all, watch. Let's just go there. So Mark 13. For false Christs and false prophets shall rise and shall show signs and wonders, to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect. You know, the redeemed of the Lord, the branch, the brand that was plucked out, that was wondered at in Zechariah 3. But take you heed, behold, I have foretold you all things. But in those days after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of the heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with a great power and glory. And then shall he send his angel, and shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, and from the uttermost parts of the earth to the uttermost parts of heaven. Now learn the parable of the fig tree. Have you learned the parable of the fig tree that Yeshua tells you to learn? This is your Messiah's words in the red letters. When her branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you in like manner, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors. Truly I say unto you that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. There's another Trinity buster for you. Take you heed, watch and pray. Watch. Are you watching? Ezekiel 2, 3, and 33. Because the brand that was plucked out, the men that were wondered at in Zechariah 3, they are watching. They know what it means to watch. Take you heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, who overcome in Revelations 2, who are given the hidden manna, the white stone, the rod of iron to rule the nations, who the Son gives his authority to I'm going to reread it, sorry. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch you, therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. So did you learn the parable of the fig tree? Zechariah 3. In that day, saith Jehovah of hosts, shall you call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. Okay, let's go to Revelations 5. Yeshua sits on the right-hand side of Jehovah. You should go read. So John 1 is quoting Proverbs chapter 8, which tells you that he was brought forth. He was created on the first day of the week. He's the light of the world. He's not God. He was brought forth. The first of creation that Jehovah created. There was Jehovah and nothing. And Jehovah spoke and said, let there be light. And he created Yeshua, the light of the worlds. Okay, so Revelation chapter 5. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And as I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look therein or thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders saith unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof, our Lamb. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as it had been slain, as filthy garments, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Jehovah sent forth into all the earth. Going back to Zechariah chapter 3, Jehovah has given all authority unto his son. I'm sure you've already know that, but we should probably read that. So Matthew 28, and Yeshua came and spoke unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Jehovah, and of the Son, Yeshua, and the Holy Ghost. Acts 5:32, only given to those who obey God, who love him and keep his commandments. John 14, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind. Deuteronomy chapter 6, to keep the 10 commandments, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Leviticus 19:15 through 18, to do righteous judgments. Rebuke your neighbor so they don't suffer sin upon them. Love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the worlds. Again, so, and the angel of the Lord protested unto Joshua, saying, thus saith Jehovah of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, and shalt also keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. Hear now, O Joshua, because, Yeshua goes on a far journey and gives authority unto his servants and calls them to watch. He gives his servants work that they must do. Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at, because they overcame and were given the rod of iron to rule over the nations. For behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall have 7 eyes. The 7 eyes with the 7 spirits of Jehovah in Revelations 5 that we just read. That had filthy garments on, right? Behold, I will engrave the graving thereof, saith Jehovah of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of the land in one day. The parable of the fig tree. You might want to go read Isaiah 28, the land of the pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, a fading flower, where Satan and a third of his angels will be casted down over, and 1 day and 1 hour. In that day, and Jehovah of hosts shall call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. And I beheld, and lo, this is Revelations 5, In the midst of the throne of the four beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Jehovah sent forth into all the earth. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne, because he sits on the right hand side of God. And when he had taken the book, and the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, the song of Moses in Deuteronomy 32, that only the redeemed of the Lord can sing, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beasts, and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, Blessed and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb, separation between Jehovah and the Son, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the 4 beasts said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshipped him that liveth forever and ever. Now you're going to tell me Zechariah 3 is not telling you that that is our Lamb. Joshua, high priest. Let's read Psalms 110. Jehovah said unto my Lord. Wow, there's another separation between Jehovah and Yeshua. Jehovah said unto my Lord, Sit thou at my right hand, because Yeshua sits on the right hand of Jehovah, until I make thy enemies thy footstool. Jehovah shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thy enemies. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning. Thou hast the dew of thy youth. Jehovah has sworn, and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. He shall drink of the brook in the way. Therefore shall he lift up the head. That is our high priest Joshua in Zechariah 3, which is Yeshua, that came in the Father's name, what Jehovah testified in Deuteronomy 18. Stop being a stiff-necked, sottish child who calls on the name Baal, Jesus Horish Krishna, Jesus H. Christ. Let me read something to you. Revelation 13. Let's just go to Zechariah 3. Joshua, Yahushua, which is Jehovah's salvation. Jehovah saves. Our Lamb who came in the Father's name, because the Father's name is in his name. Okay, now we're going to go to Revelation 13, because this is very important. So, here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Chi Ze Stigma, the image made onto the beast, the cross, the crucifix, and the number of his name. That is Jesus. That is how it's pronounced. I can do this. That is how it's pronounced, is Jesus. That is your Jesus, okay? So let's go to Revelations 14. And look, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and him, and with him 144,000, having the Father's name Jehovah written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping, the song of Moses that only the redeemed of the Lord will sing, and their harps, and they sung as it were a new song of Moses before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. This is not a brand plucked out of the fire. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. And their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of the heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, which is an idiom to keep his commandments. You can read that in Deuteronomy 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. And give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. And worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city in one day. Learn the parable of the fig tree, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast, count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man, 666, Chi Ze Stigma, and his image, the cross, the crucifix, Jesus, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hands, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, Jesus. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that kept the commandments of God and the faith of Yeshua. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yes, saith the Spirit, that they have rest from their labors, and their works do follow them.